When you have a year where Sonic, Mario, Crash Bandicoot, and Bubsy come back, you know it's going to be a great year. Especially when Sonic has the best game of them all. And I'm not talking about Mania, I'm talking about Forces.
Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. Push me on through until the battle's won.
There are so many fantastic games that released in 2017, making this year one of the best in gaming history. We got Zelda, Persona, Xenoblade, Nier, Sonic, and we even got Monopoly on the Switch.
I mean, it was a mistake.
No, Max, you can't give up like that. You think I'm joking. Monopoly on the Switch is lit. It's pretty clear that Nintendo dominated this year with the Switch, but was the best game to release this year, in my opinion, on the Switch? Stay tuned. I didn't play every huge game this year. I'm missing some key ones such as Cuphead, Wolfenstein 2, Edith Finch, Night in the Woods, and Hellblade, and a few others. I've created a list of 5 games for my personal game of the year, so let's go through them.
Burning Sword!
Fire Emblem Heroes!
Just kidding. F that game. The official Game of the Year, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I consider it one of the greatest games of all time in terms of design and development. The inviting open world is perfect for anyone, casual gamers, hardcore gamers, or someone who's not even a gamer at all.
What's up, gamers?
Anyone can find something to do in Breath of the Wild, which is the beauty of it, but it's still not a flawless game. Because of this fantastic gameplay, the story suffered. It was very basic compared to the past few Zelda titles, which had finally began focusing on stronger narratives, which was kind of a letdown for me because stories in video games are like my favorite thing ever. Despite the weak story, it's still a phenomenal piece of art that everyone should play. Game that came out of nowhere. Well, at least for me. I heard about Nier Automata thanks to my dear friend Obsidian Wasp. I had zero knowledge of this game or the series, and so when I bought it, I wasn't that excited to play it. I was more excited to try out Horizon Zero Dawn, which I had bought alongside Nier. What a mistake. Nier is a game that is so rare to find today. One of the best combat systems in a game to date. An unforgettable story that tugs at the player's heartstrings, gorgeous world building, and a soundtrack that will go down in history. It excelled in almost every aspect, but I found it to take a little time to get into. The game starts off with probably the most ridiculous tutorial level ever, and while I appreciate it now, anyone new to the game will probably not be a fan of it. It's stupid, but I love it.
We'll show you what me and Pyro are made of. Take this!
People have been trashing this game on Twitter for the art style, the voice acting, and Dahlia. Just Dahlia.
The name's Dahlia. Allow me to make your life as enchanting as possible.
Xenoblade 2 does quite a few things wrong, but it does more right than wrong. And by right, I mean really right. It's the true successor to the original masterpiece Xenoblade Chronicles that was on the Wii and new 3DS. It has incredible combat that dives just deep enough without complicating things too much. It offers a fantastic story that consistently pleases, and the soundtrack is just as solid as Xenoblade X's and the original Xenoblade Chronicles, which is, by the way, very high tier. I know a certain YouTuber trashed this game, but if you like JRPGs or if you even like just anime, you'll love Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Many aspects of the game, such as voice acting and even the combat, take some time to get going, but once a certain point is reached, It's fantastic. I know, this is the third Nintendo game on this list, and I'm telling you, they killed it this year. And I wanted to put a fourth on here. I wanted to put Shadows of Valentia on here, but it just didn't fit in my top 5 as much as I love it. And you should love it too, because it's a fantastic game! Anyway, Mario Odyssey, like Breath of the Wild, is one of the most beautifully developed games of 2017. It provides endless fun, exciting new mechanics never before seen in a Mario game, and is literally Mario and Banjo-Kazooie crossover I dreamed of when I was a child. There were a lot of great changes in Odyssey, but I missed the hub worlds like 64 and Sunshine had. I was really hoping Odyssey would have one. I mean, you could really consider a lot of the worlds like hub worlds because they're so big, but it's just too linear sometimes. But my biggest issue with Odyssey is the amount of moons. Getting them so frequently doesn't feel as rewarding as getting a star or a shine in previous games. But besides these just small little personal issues, Odyssey is a near perfect game. It's fantastic. If you haven't played it yet, what are you doing? It's great. Get a Switch and play this game. Let's get one thing clear. Persona 5 was my first Persona game, and prior to playing 5, I had interest in playing 4 Gold because Endgame the Cube kept tweeting about it every day of his life, but I never got around to playing it, so Persona 5 was the first time I really got a chance to play a Persona game. And it was an experience I never had before with a game. It seeped into my real life, and it really threw me off, but I loved it. I loved it maybe too much. But I loved it. The story, the characters, the world, just the everything. It was magical. I'm sure I sound like a normie to veteran Persona fans because they always say Persona 3 is better, Persona 4 is better. But I was just infatuated by this game. This game is fantastic. It's a timeless game that will be praised for years to come. But there are still some issues with it. My biggest issue is that the story really dragged at some points. I was repelled by it. I actually put the game down for months because I was bored of the story. But I'm glad that I picked it back up and I'm glad I played it. Also, the combat wasn't anything spectacular. It felt pretty average. And with these 5 nominees, this is my Game of the Year. Monopoly on the Switch, a game that completely redefines the term board game by being so mobile and accessible. A game that ruins friendships.
Well, guess I win, guys!
No, it's not! No, you don't! This broke! This is not! Okay, but seriously, the Game of the Year is a game that I never expected to be Game of the Year. A game I consider a masterpiece. The greatest game I played since Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii 5 years ago. And that game is Nier Automata. I cannot praise or recommend this game enough. It's a game that threw me for a loop. It broke me down emotionally with its delicate writing and broken characters. A game with an unconventional plot that went haywire and wasn't predictable in the slightest. It has beat 'em up and bullet hell combat, 2 styles of gameplay I ordinarily avoid because I'm not a fan of it. But Nier does it so well. I fell in love with it. And no other game that has beat 'em up or bullet hell gameplay can match Nier's gameplay in my opinion. It's just so perfect. It's a game that will go down in history. A game that I hold near and dear to my heart. A game that I will consider one of the greatest games ever created. And that's why Nier Automata is my Game of the Year. If you want a more accurate representation of my opinion on Nier Automata, check out the video on the screen right now. Even without Nier Automata, this year was insane. We had fantastic games like Doki Doki Literature Club, Fire Emblem Echoes, and Sonic Mania. And Fire Emblem Echoes is still the best Fire Emblem in 2017.